In this episode, I'm going to be sharing my grand vision in boxing and also talking about the Ontario Boxing Hall of Fame lecture series. Welcome to the DO Boxing Show. I'm your host, Dameon Okposio. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. And as I mentioned in the intro, I'm going to be talking about my grand vision for boxing, which I haven't shared publicly before. I've kind of touched on a number of different things, but aside of my close friends, I've never really shared my grand vision for boxing. So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about the Ontario Boxing Hall of Fame lecture series and what that means as it comes into 2018. So first of all, it is Christmas Eve, December 24th, 2017. So Merry Christmas to everybody. And, 2017 again has been a really great year. I'm so grateful for the opportunities that the year has provided. So when it comes to boxing, I've been involved in boxing for a long time. And so I guess maybe the best thing to do or the best place to start from is kind of the beginning and then go on to explaining what I'm looking to do. Born in Canada, grew up with my biological parents until I was 10 years old, ran away from home, grew up in Catholic Children's Aid, bounced around from group home to group home, foster home to foster home. Lived on my own from the age of 16, always worked, never went on assistance, always carried and worked 2 part-time jobs or 3 jobs to make ends meet, and, got involved in boxing in the early 1990s when I dropped out of high school in grade 10, and basically, boxing came at the perfect time for me because I could have gone in kind of any direction, but boxing was able to keep me focused. I was able to punch out a lot of the hurt that I had inside me as a kid, and you couple that with wanting to learn to be better and me starting to read a lot of books on my own, and that really catapulted me into the direction that I wanted for my life. But in boxing played a big part in that, and that's why I have such a great passion for boxing, and I want to pay it forward and help other people to kind of gain some mental independence and some financial independence from being in the sport of boxing, because there are so many positive aspects to all sport, but especially the sport of boxing. I know it extremely well. And it's one of those things where it is a team sport if it's done properly, but also you can do it on your own and have some measure of success by trying to hustle and make your own way, which I did. And it taught me a lot of invaluable lessons. So, the one thing with boxing too, there's so many deficiencies and a lack of things that are happening in the sport. And I look at those things as opportunities. There is not a lot of opportunities for fighters to make money outside of boxing traditionally. I see that as an opportunity and know that can happen. The marketing in boxing is way out of whack with the rest of the sports world. I see that as an opportunity. There's no guaranteed pension, set pay, or anything like that. In the sport of boxing, going from the amateurs to the professionals, I see an opportunity in that as well. And so, for me, the grand vision for boxing is I want to grow my brand in boxing to be $1 billion company. And, $1 billion is a big word and it's a lofty goal. Do I actually have a plan to get there? And yes, I've broken down my plan into a lot of smaller goals. And, for the last 20 to 25 years, I've been accomplishing all those different things. And one of my first goals was to try and hit as many different aspects of the sport as I can so that I can understand them all. And that came to promoting amateur fights, promoting professional fights, dealing with, doing business in different countries when it comes to boxing, selling equipment, doing the media part of boxing. Because ultimately, what I want to do in the future is be a brand and company, and I wouldn't just be a promotional company that would deal with professional fighters, and I wouldn't just be like a sanctioning body, but I would be a company that somebody could go to from day one. They could walk in, and we could say, okay, what's your goal? You want to be a world champion, and you've never boxed a day in your life, and you're whatever 15 years old. Okay, we can take you all the way through from amateurs. We can set you up with through an amateur program, market you on that way, create avenues so you can make an income, so you can survive, while actually pursuing your ambition of being a boxer. And that will be able to carry you through from the amateurs to the professionals, setting it up where you're going to have some residual income at the end of your career, because money will automatically be set aside. You'll have some benefits going into it, and then there'll be room in the organization, in the company, for you to also work post your boxing career, either in marketing other fighters or taking some aspect or in being involved in another aspect of the company that benefits the sport. And the great thing I like about the idea of the company that I want to build and the machine that I want to kind of build around the sport is that it's not going to be taking away from anybody that's out there, and I'm not really going to be in a direct competitor, to one entity. Like, it's just going to be, I can carve a niche out, do my own recruiting of athletes, and build them up, and as a company have a solid financial base to be able to support those fighters all the way through. So I don't have to kind of mess with the established system if it wants to stay the way that it is and do things the way it's been doing things. I'm just going to kind of be carving out my own niche, and those that want to come and be part of the company or the organization, they can see themselves having a 30-year or 40-year career with the company that I'm intending to build. So again, that's why I do so many different things when it comes to promoting boxing and trying different things out and merchandising, because all of those things are going to be aspects of the larger business that I'm going to be building in the near future. And I'm testing basically all these different areas, and in about 10 to 12 years, I have some investments that are going to mature by that time, that will be able to finance me moving forward and implementing this company, putting it into existence. And then all the things that I've done in the past will be part of that company, and I'll have an actual working knowledge. So even when I'm delegating other people to run certain sections and build them up, I'll have at least a working knowledge of what it takes for that sector or that area, whether it be the social media, the production of content, or publishing, or management, training, whatever it is. I'll have an idea of how those things are going, and then I'll be able to tell whether the people I put in those positions are actually being effective or not. So that's lofty, that's in the clouds, but you know what I thought, instead of keeping it to myself, I'm going to put it out there to let people know exactly what I'm looking at doing, especially since now I'm more than halfway to the point of getting to that goal. And things are going to start coming together, and you'll see what that looks like. So the Ontario Boxing Hall of Fame lecture series is just also part of that goal. When it comes to the Ontario Boxing Hall of Fame, when I was thinking about the Hall of Fame and when I took it over initially, I was always thinking in my mind, when I start to do something, I don't want it to be for a week or a month or something like that, and then I have to put it down. Like even when I did my DO app, and it was a free app that I provided. I ran it, and I wanted to give it like, at least a year to 2 years of actually having it, it being functional and seeing what I could do with it before I decided that I was gonna stop running the app, which I decided, I was gonna end at the end of this month. So, I like to give things a good run and see how they work and how they're implemented. The lecture series is no different, and it was born out of, the fact that I did a lot of lectures for a lot of elementary schools, colleges, and universities, and, I really enjoy doing that, and I will continue to do it as well. And I was getting paid to go to certain schools, but when I would go and I would lecture on business and being an entrepreneur and starting my businesses from scratch, to where they are now, a lot of times I would talk about my experience with school and, the fact that I dropped out in grade 10 and, that I'm self-taught. And I would find that sometimes I would be a little bit censored, or they'd want to censor some of my message. And, I felt that, I wanted to be very authentic, and I wanted to give the full spectrum of what I went through. It's part of my narrative, that I didn't complete school. It's part of my narrative that I didn't go on to university. It's part of my narrative that I am self-taught. And, there's different paths for different people. I don't necessarily believe in the formal educational system because I didn't thrive in it. I'm not saying that it's not good. I'm just saying that it wasn't part of my narrative and my success. I've been able to make six figures, and culminated in almost now $2 million in income for myself. And I did that with basically high school equivalency. And I'm very proud of that fact. But it also came through a lot of hard work. So I think sometimes when I was doing the lectures, they were taking just the narrative that I was saying I dropped out of school, thinking that would be a negative for the students, but they weren't also looking that I was emphasizing, it has to be a lot of hard work that you're putting into whatever it is that you're going to do, a lot of self-awareness, and a lot of investing in yourself. Even though I dropped out of school, I was in the libraries. I developed my vocabulary by reading a lot of comic books. I tried a lot of different businesses, a lot of network marketing companies, and I researched business, and I did trial and error, and I gained a lot of education. Maybe I was doing more learning than the actual average person that was in school, and that's the difference. I was kind of always constantly looking to better myself, and then I started reading a lot of books, a lot of self-improvement books, did a lot of self-improvement programs. I did the Tony Robbins Personal Power Program. I invested in that, purchased a program. I went to a seminar when he came to Toronto. I did the fire walk. So, there's a lot of personal investment that I made as well. So, that being said, I understand, schools, universities wanting to protect their brand and their business. And I completely understand that, especially when they're paying someone to come. They want to be able to set the parameters, and I completely respect that. And that's why I wanted to take the Ontario Boxing Hall of Fame lecture series as something that I would do on my own, that I would finance myself, and see what the interest is in and around the boxing community for people to come out and see legends in the sport, people that have been inducted. So, when they're coming to the Ontario Boxing Hall of Fame lecture, and you're coming out and you're paying whatever it is, I haven't determined or set any prices yet, but when you're coming out to a lecture, an Ontario Boxing Hall of Fame lecture, you're going to hear from me as a facilitator. You're going to hear from people who have been inducted, and that the people that have been inducted have been vetted by the Ontario Boxing Hall of Fame. That's why they were inducted in the first place. So they have accomplished something extraordinary in the sport. Someone like a James Jardine, who came to Canada and started, a small business that grew into an international company, basically on his own, and then, built a great promotional company with Alain Tremblay and put on a number of world title fights in the province of Ontario. They ran a great series with Casino Rama. They did a show at the Air Canada Centre. They put on just great boxing and invested heavily in the sport. So when you're hearing about promotion and management, even though it's from a different era or a different time, you're getting it straight from someone who did it, straight from someone who created it. Or if you come out to a lecture series and you're hearing from a multi-time professional champ like Fitz the Whip Vanderpool, who self-managed, and he gives a lot of credit to his trainers. He opened up his own gym, so he's an entrepreneur, and even now he's continuing to transition and utilize boxing and his brand, his name that he's built, his brand that he's built, to parlay into other avenues for employment, and with the latest being him running as a member of provincial parliament. So all of these things you can hear directly from these people who have done great things in the sport. Their accomplishments have been vetted. It's not like they're kind of promoting themselves, which there's nothing wrong with that. But you can easily research them, through the Ontario Boxing Hall of Fame and see what their verified accomplishments were. And then, in the series, and with lectures, one of the things I always enjoyed with lectures is participation. And so, a big part of the lectures is going to be people being able to ask questions through the lecture, throughout the lecture, of specific things that they want. And I think that brings people tremendous value because, if you attend, you're getting to ask something that can directly affect you, and you're getting the information specifically geared towards whatever question it is that you ask. And I think that's the best value for people, especially when they're going to a live lecture instead of somebody just speaking at you. I love lectures in a conversation environment, where people are interacting, asking questions, but there'll still be a format, because if people are too shy, there'll still be an informative format to get information out there to people, so that if they don't ask questions, we're still providing value to them. But I love the question and answer part of lectures, and I've always enjoyed interacting with people. And it's also another way for me to market to people, because I anticipate that it's probably going to be a lot of people that are not involved in the boxing community or not heavily involved in the boxing community that will come out and want to learn. And that's great for the sport of boxing, because now it garners interest and it addresses things. If people have misconceptions, myths, things that they're thinking about, concerns that they have, they can be addressed at the lecture. And it also gives me an opportunity for me to market different things that I'm doing, and market my brand and market my business, like shirts, the boxing magazine Below the Belt, and get those names out there, as well as marketing the name of the inductees that are participating in the lecture series. So it just gives the inductees that want to be involved and want to still continue to get their name out there something to be a part of, allows them to be in the media, and it generates content. And I'm looking forward to doing that. If you're looking at having a lecture done either in, if you're a boxing coach or a gym owner and you want to have it in your facility and you want me to organize something there, then you can always contact me and we can arrange something. I have a couple of venues confirmed in Mississauga where I'm able to do the lectures at, and I may be looking at a couple of theaters just based on the interest. That's something that I would love to graduate to, is hosting it in a theater. I love the theater style where people can be comfortable And it's like a stadium seating where everybody can get a great view and have a panel that they can ask, a wide variety of questions when it comes to the sport of boxing. So the lecture series is going to be coming out. Of course, I'll be advertising it when it does start up. It's going to be coming in 2018. I'm very excited about it. And, we have a lot of fighters who, they're very articulate and very excited about being part of the lecture series. And of course, it's going to be opened up to, anybody that has been inducted. Once they contact me, they express that they're interested in it. And then we go over a few guidelines, and we're going to see how this goes and how it's received. And it's going to be another step towards gathering some more information about, a possible other division in the grand company that I want to build. So I'm always looking now for talent, good business partners, people with character, honesty, and a unique drive. I'm also looking for young people that are looking to develop themselves or be part of something big, be part of a growing company, and come in on the ground level. It's always exciting to be in on the ground level of any company that's about to expand, and it's going to be one of those things where it's now that I've put it out there, can I actually accomplish what it is that I'm saying? That being said, the Ontario Boxing Hall of Fame lecture series is going to be coming very soon to, I was going to say a town near you, but most likely we're going to be sticking with Mississauga, the GTA, and possibly Woodstock, Ontario for now, and then we'll see how things are received, and then we'll go from there. I want to thank you so much for taking your time to listen to this episode. Remember, if you have any questions related to boxing, send us a message through Twitter at DOKPOSIO, through email okposio@hotmail.com, and don't forget to subscribe through YouTube to get every episode of the DO Boxing Show. Thanks for tuning in to this episode, and we'll catch you on the next one.